a Section 8 landlord, you do not need a property manager, even if
Okay.
you're out of town.
So,
Always have somebody that you can bounce a question off of, even if they aren't even in this business. I'm
yep.
about to pay this person some money for this. What do you think? Even if they don't know anything about it, and hopefully somebody will smack you upside the head and say, "Do you realize how stupid that sounds?"
Oh, yeah.
To do better in their business, but I also have to.
I don't know how to do it.
Also, who was that? Val Morgan off of the Facebook group said, do you use a property manager or manage the properties yourself?
I do not use a property manager. I think that they are unnecessary in many cases. There is
Okay.
a reason for them, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
in my experience, or at least late experience, the main reason for a property manager, in my opinion, is banging on doors, or that's always been historically the reason you need a property
Yep.
manager, is that the tenant's not paying the rent, so the guy goes bangs on the door, give me my rent, whatever. Well,
Mm-hmm.
number one, in today's world, the digital world, you don't have to do that as much, and they definitely don't
Right.
go bang on the doors. They'll send emails and letters and all that stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
so it's not really that necessary anymore. They charge way too much for monthly fees. They charge too much to do repairs. Oh my god,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to spend 20% of your hard-earned money for a property manager that doesn't do a heck of a lot. In fact, a good property manager, or at least ones that are successful, sometimes they truly don't do things right on purpose so that the tenant moves out, so that they can get the repair cost and then the
Mm-hmm.
turnover cost and the eviction cost, and they're doing nothing but making money off of you. I've seen it too many times.
Right.
There are good ones out there, don't get me wrong,
Yes. Yes,
but
there are.
there's too many that are not. And so I
Yeah.
personally don't. I believe that if you are a Section 8 landlord, you do
Mm-hmm.
not need a property manager, even if
Okay.
you're out of town. As long as you have some boots on the ground, maybe to
Mm-hmm.
show a house, or hire just a placement agent. There's a few of them out there that do nothing but put them in, and then that they say goodbye, and then all you
Right.
need is somebody to repair something if something goes wrong. Everything
Mm-hmm.
else is digital. You don't need to be there. And how much money are you saving every month, every year?
Right.
So that's why I
So
don't
one
measures.
thing that I do recommend people do, though, even though you don't have a say if you do go Jay's route and don't have a property manager, you still put in the numbers like you would be paying for a property manager, because now you can either one, pay yourself that, okay, or two, when you get big enough and you want to use a property manager, you're not losing money now because you didn't put that in the numbers to begin with.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It One of
So,
my early videos, I talked about that 20 house number. And I said,
yep.
when you get to 20, and the reason why I picked that number is, even if I decided that I did want to move to Florida and didn't want to ever talk to a tenant ever again, didn't want to,
Yep.
and I decided to use a property manager, I would make $500 per house tax free after everything, which I make a lot more
Right.
than that. But that was my rock bottom number. And at
Yep.
20 houses times $500 a month, that's $10,000 a month. I can live comfortably on $10,000 a month, living on a cruise
Right.
ship or something, whatever. So, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
You should always think about those things, taxes, insurance, everything. Absolutely.
Most definitely. And one thing that I've actually had new investors come to me and ask me, well, I've been thinking about getting to Detroit. I've been thinking about this. And the thing is that if you're not going to do a lot of the legwork to know the Detroit rules and know how it works, I always tell people, I do recommend using a property manager that knows what they're doing in Detroit. who know how to work with Detroit properties, because you can be one day late on, say, a property turnover, and next thing you know, you got a furnace, you got a hot water tank gone, you know?
Definitely,
So,
that's good advice. You've got to find
yeah,
somebody who knows the business. Same thing with the real estate agent, mortgage,
yes,
all that stuff. I probably 10 to 20% of the people that I speak to are newbies in the game that are coming from California, Texas, Israel,
yep.
or a few friends over there.
Mhm.
And they tell me, oh, their agent gave them this house and they want to, of course, do Section 8 to maximize their profits. So
Of
that's how
course.
they get my name. And I always ask them about your first deal. What are
Mhm.
are you working on something now? And almost always it's yes, I'm about to buy this property at a good friend of mine that,
Mhm.
he says, yeah, I'm 3 or 4 days away from buying this property. I'm technically out of contract, but I'm going to sign an extension in the next day or two and I'm going to buy it in 2 days. And
Mhm.
I really want that Section 8 extra money. And I said, okay, well, tell me
Right.
about it. Oh, well, I'm going to buy this property in a really nice area, $150,000 for a 3 bedroom brick in Detroit. And, there's a tenant in it that's paying, $1,100 a month. So, my numbers, I'm gonna walk away with, like $200 every month. I'm like, really? Well, yeah,
And that's a deal?
yeah, that's your deal. He's like, yeah. And so I started to break down the numbers and I'm like, okay, well, how much are you paying for, he's got a hard money lender, then he's going to
Yep.
refi it. I'm like, okay, I see that taking a lot of your money. Okay, no problem. Well, how much do you have for taxes or for insurance? He's like, oh, like 150 a month. Well, you can save some there. That's generally 50, 75 a
Mhm.
month for insurance. No problem. You can save a little there. Well, I've got, $80 a month for taxes. Who told you that? Oh, my real estate agent said that. I said, well, so I showed him there's a website. I'm sure that most of the people in here hopefully have seen it, but
Yep.
the Michigan State Property Tax Estimator, and it's
Yep.
put on by the state of Michigan. And if you look in there, when I pulled up the taxes, he was going to pay about 6 grand a year in taxes. So
Way more than $80 a month.
$80 went to 200 just like that, and he's like, oh, well, when I do those numbers now, I'm gonna lose about $50 or $75 a month. Should I still buy it? Well, I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do anything. I'll just explain it. But the point of that is the knowing that you're dealing with somebody that knows what they're doing. That person's
Yes.
agent told him that the taxes were going to be low. So I said, okay, well, either your agent's an idiot or
Mhm.
he's unscrupulous.
Yep.
So you need to know which it is. So call
Mhm.
that agent right now. You're not in contract under contract, so you can cancel it if you want, which you should, but I didn't say that. Um,
Yeah.
ask them, okay, I'm doing my final numbers. I'm paying 100 and however much per, for this house. How much are my taxes going to be next year?
Mhm.
It's a test. And of course, the
Yeah.
person from, I won't say the name, but, sounds like our team, if you know what I mean. Said, "Oh, yeah, we've looked at that and you're going to be almost the same, maybe $10 more a month or something." And, well, then what kind of agent this is. They're
Yeah.
unscrupulous, they just want to sell you a property. Turns out they actually was somebody in their office selling the house, and
Mhm.
the guy did back out of it, and I'm very happy for that. But if you have the wrong people that you're working with, you're going to get screwed.
Most
Simple.
definitely. And that's the thing. Like, you need to surround yourself with good people. You need to surround yourself with a good team, building that team and going from there. So I definitely recommend, um, I definitely recommend that you build that team ahead of time, build that trust going forward, so that you can uh, see how everything will work out. And the thing is that people need people that they trust. Okay, if you do, especially if you're long distance. Okay, so with that being said, you need to build a team around you that trusts you. So do smaller projects, do smaller deals. Don't go into a 16 unit apartment building and you're fully hands off. It's
Absolutely.
not going to work.
Find somebody that is willing to help, and doesn't necessarily have any skin in the game for that matter.
Yes.
We talked about this. I don't particularly like the word expert when you say about Section 8. I like the fact that, if anything, I want to be known for is the fact that I give my information freely. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell anything to anybody. I don't charge for any of the people that I come to, have lunches with or whatever. I'll take a free lunch. And as you can tell, I've got a few of those.
Yep.
But there are other people that if you post in any one of these groups saying, hey, I have a question about this, or, I want to know about Section 8, there are other, quote unquote, knowledgeable people inside of the groups. Monique Burns is in our group. She's great. And she actually has a course coming out here pretty soon about how to invest without a property manager from out of state in Section 8. She's very good at that as well. So,
and by the way, Monique Burns is her name. Check her out on YouTube. She does have a big following on YouTube, and she has free content out there on YouTube. So by all means, yes, I agree with Jay. Like, she is a wealth of knowledge on this stuff too.
She's a good person too.
Yes.
Which is just as important.
100%.
So
100%. So she's a great person. So it's funny because I went to the Oakland REA meetup, and I'm not a member. So, but like the group that they had, like, oh, let's have a meeting and talk about, they were talking about Section 8 at the time. And literally, even though I'm not a member, it's supposed to be like a members only type thing. She just grabbed me and said, oh, you're coming over here. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm coming over there.
Absolutely.
So, great people to be around.
I'm supposed to be starting my first day on the board of the Oakland REA tomorrow, actually. So
that's awesome.
It's
definitely a great place to network, and especially if you are
Monique.
Oh, there we go. See Monique right there. She just said hi. Check her YouTube channel out. It's right here on the screen. Monique Burns. If you don't know how to spell it, it's right there. She's a great person to be around and love her to death. So, but that meetup, especially if you're going to be a landlord, whether it be Section 8 or not, that's out of the whatever it is. If you're going to be a landlord, either in Oakland County, anywhere in the Detroit area, okay, it's definitely a group to go, because there's a lot of experienced people where even if it's nothing to do with the board, no offense, just the people who come there are very experienced landlords, and you can ask them anything, and they're always open book people. So
yeah, it's any group is a good group. I'm from Oakland, or that's where I live now, so I suppose that's why but I go to I'll be at the Monzo group meetup tomorrow. I don't know if you guys go there or not. So if you want,
I do go there every once in a while. Just sometimes it falls on a time. It falls on a time where there's like 3 meetings in a week, and it's like, okay, I can only really go to 2 of them. So because I got everyday stuff going. So usually that one falls on the wayside because of that.
Yeah, this week is a busy one, actually. There's not only this tonight, tomorrow the Monzo, and Thursday is the Metro Detroit Real Estate Investors Group meetup as well.
And also Wednesday is Dean's meetup as well in Novi.
That's too far for me.
Yeah. I like going there, but it's, Ted Tackleberry, he said, hi, Jay, ran, awesome content. I barely ever see him on here. That's awesome. So, and the CEO, which his name, I believe, is Jay as well. So, they have a thing. She's dropping out of state landlords Section 8 without property management. And I think he was talking about Monique.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what she's doing. So,
yep.
And Monique,
So
we talked about Monique being really good in Section 8 as well, but she's also was a property manager. So the fact that she's putting out a course that is about not doing property
yeah,
management is awesome. So actually, we've kind of worked together a little bit on that, kind of collaborated here. And
that's
it's hers. It's not mine, but we've had more than one discussion about it. So she's awesome.
that's awesome. Oh, and the CEO, his name is Pat, not Jay. Oh well.
Hi, Pat.
But yeah, it's the thing is that with Section 8, it's actually very simple where there's only a few times that you really would need somebody to do things. I think you need more of a property manager when you're not doing Section 8. You know,
You know,
um,
some people say that the litmus test for whether you need a Section 8 is if you have zero time to do anything.
mhm,
I don't know if I totally agree with that, because if you maybe with filling the properties, but
mhm,
I guess if once you get past 20 or 30 or something and you're spending just as
yeah,
much time filling properties as you are buying new ones, maybe if you want to try and scale, I guess I can
yeah,
kind of understand that. I personally would just hire somebody,
yeah.
my own personal whatever, but I can at least understand the argument, I suppose. And who's that?
So
I don't know if you.
So this one comes from Freddie
Oh,
Polanco,
hi, Freddie.
great guy.
Yes.
He said he could testify that Jay's always there for anyone for any advice. So Jay's a great guy. And Pat, the CEO, says, hi Jay, thanks for coming on." So, um, but yeah, 100. The thing is that I'm all about systems myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the type of person that I want to see my business and I want to put a system involved where eventually I see myself like either putting somebody else in that to take care of it and or it taking care of itself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's kind of where I like to do things.
People ask me, well, what you're saying about a system. That's the one thing I've done classes. I'll sit and talk with anybody. I'll go to see people's houses for the heck of it. I just
Hmm.
enjoy talking real estate, helping anybody can. And but the system itself, I can give you A and B and then G, L, Z, D,
Hmm.
F,
Yep.
Y, but I don't give A to Z. I think you need to find that yourself, or you need to find a program that does.
Yep.
So yeah, those systems are great, except it's very hard to find anything that is catered towards Detroit. If we're
Yes.
talking Detroit proper, now for
Yep.
anybody that's
Detroit
not from
proper.
the area, you understand that there's a difference. It's a world of difference between Detroit proper and the Detroit metro area.
Yes.
And if you look at Bigger Pockets, some of those podcasts and such, there's some great advice in there, but none of it is catered towards Detroit, and much of it does not apply. I love, I know when somebody was a Bigger Pockets person, when they post in one of the groups and says, what are the best zip codes in Detroit to do? It's just like a rookie question. There is
Hmm.
no good or bad zip codes in Detroit. They're all good and they're all bad. So,
Right.
um, but anyway, it's great to do some of those things. I'm not a big lover of paying for too many courses, especially Bigger Pockets and things. If they don't know Detroit, if you're trying to do Detroit proper.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like Detroit proper, people have to understand it's a huge difference. They want to say, oh, yeah, it's the same thing. I can run it from California. And I'm like, if you don't know, if you go and treat it like a Detroit proper property, like any other property, say in the suburbs or anywhere else, you're going to lose your ass.
Yeah, I've
Period.
seen I've seen millionaires walk away crying in Detroit, thinking that
Yeah.
it's easy. Oh, I read this seminar and I bought 50 properties and never got one of them finished, or whatever. If you don't have the right people, the right system, the right mindset, I don't care how much money you have, you will lose your ass.
Right.
And
So,
never give money up front to contractors in Detroit.
oh, hell no. If you give, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you give money, and this is nothing against anyone, but if you give money to your contractor before the job's done, okay, your job's probably not going to get done. Okay. He's already went and spent that money on whatever his vice is.
Boobies and beer. Yeah.
Everyone has a different vice. I'm not, hey, boobies and beer, drugs, whatever. I mean, whatever
Yeah.
their vice is, whatever that is.
So
So,
I
yes.
have many what I call friends, some call them mentees, whatever, that I've
Mm-hmm.
helped with a lot of things. And, I'll stay in touch with them for a certain amount of time. And they always seem to always go away and do their own thing for a little while. But I try to check in,
Yep.
or they'll check in with me after a year or 2 year or whatever. And I'm telling you, almost every single one, when I say, have you run into any problems? Oh yeah, I just got ripped off by this guy. I gave him money, like $2,000 to clean out a house. You gave it to him up front. Yeah. What is the first thing that I told you about investing in Detroit? Not to give money up front. Why is it that everybody makes that same mistake? I don't understand
Yep.
that. It's like,
Hey, if they need a deposit, like
yeah, for even
10%,
materials, okay, I'll go buy the
like,
materials and I'll meet you there
yeah,
or something. But to take a deposit, I'm sorry, I don't want to say the person's name, but to take a give a $2,000 deposit to clean out a house. And that was a big job to clean out. To clean out a house, what did they need to do? Buy garbage bags?
right,
Ah,
exactly.
anyway,
Like, okay, you need the dumpster. Okay, I'll go buy the dumpster.
yeah.
Okay. You need to pay your guys. Is it going to take longer than a week? No.
Okay, I'll pay you halfway in the, when you're halfway done, I'll pay you halfway. Never go ahead
Exactly.
of time.
Yes,
How do you
100%. That's the key thing is just knowing what to do. Like doing these draws is crazy. So,
always have somebody always have somebody that you can bounce a question off of, even if they aren't even in this business. I'm
yep.
about to pay this person some money for this. What do you think? Even if they don't know anything about it, and hopefully somebody will smack you upside the head and say, "Do you realize how stupid that sounds?"
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
Ted has a question real quick. How do you source decent contractors slash handymen in Detroit with a small portfolio?
I like to start with small jobs. I will go on Facebook Marketplace or used to be Craigslist or whatever, and post an ad saying, "Hey, I'm looking for contractors, or I'm looking for handymen, whatever." And if I did find somebody that I thought met the criteria, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to give them a try, I never try new people out on big jobs in any way, shape, or
Right.
form. Always, if you're a handyman, okay, fine. I got this toilet that needs to be replaced over there. And how
Yep.
did the whole thing go? Did they, take an extra 2 days to do it? Did they want money up front to
Yeah.
buy the wax ring? Things like that. And then, how it was afterwards. You just have to feel out the situation, then go from there, go slightly bigger and bigger until that you can trust the person. But I don't care if, unless you really are truly, they're in your back pocket, that them, you're bringing them
Mm-hmm.
to your barbecues at your house. you know
Yeah.
you need to you can say, okay, fine, I'm going to give you this big job, but I'm going to give you the materials for it, and then when you get to a certain point, okay, fine, I'll pay you up to that point, but you never pay in advance.
No.
Never let them owe you money. you'll
Right.
never you'll never catch back up. I think you started to mention that thing in there. It just, you'll always have a problem. And to be honest with you, there are good contractors that go bad.
Yes.
Maybe for a little while, maybe permanently. Maybe they get one of those habits that, type things, whatever
Yep.
it is. But I've had good contractors. A guy that I've actually referred to some people, that was he probably did 20 houses for me. over, a 5-year period or so when I worked for the other guy, whatever, and did a really great job. And then he disappeared and, lost a little bit of money because I trusted him. And he came back and he made things right. But it just very much made me realize that you should always still cover your ass. If I can say that online.
No, you're good. Yeah. So one thing that I've noticed is like when we were doing when we had the whole COVID boom with contractors just not being available, either just too busy and things like that. I would see this from some of my clients that they couldn't get a contractor or they would give the contractor the deposit and the contractor realized that they probably underbid the project. And so now they're going to take their time and doing the project. And in the meantime, they're going to go do this one that they're going to make a lot more money on over here.
Yes.
So now you're going to be on the back burner for nights and weekends or whatever, if they want to even do that.
I think there's a South Park episode about this.
Yeah. So Martin from the Facebook group, Martin, I'm not even going to pronounce that last name. Sorry about that. But he says, I'm a GC in Boston, and not to be confused with Boston Edison. I'm assuming he's talking about Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston.
I never pay upfront work. Upfront work is paid upon completed stages. Okay. You have to hold the carrot in front of the contractor.
Absolutely.
That is 100% true. I honestly, I know some contractors and they've even told me that. It's just how it is. So Pat from the CEO says that was genius. And, he said he loves this stream. So, but
Jesse
Basama.
Buzma.
I think
Buzma, whatever.
All right.
He's a buddy of mine.
Okay. Awesome.
Support.
I appreciate it. So, one thing that I want to say is that I'm really, really happy that everyone came out and is coming out and talking about this and actually asking these questions and hitting this, so with that.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view.